evening. I'm Clarice Tinsley. The Montague County Sheriff says the shooting death of a popular high school football player was an accident. This afternoon, the sheriff gave more details about what happened Saturday night between a group of friends on a hunting trip. Phil Alvarado was first on Fox 4 News at the Sheriff's Department in Montague. Phil.
And Clarice, for the first time, we heard specific details of how 18-year-old Nate Mackey was killed. He was shot and killed, the sheriff says, by his 17-year-old friend. But the sheriff also says this was completely unintentional. It was an accident. These are photos of Nate Mackey from Facebook. He was also a star player on the Denton-Guyer football team. Montague County Sheriff Paul Cunningham says Mackey was accidentally shot in the head and killed by his 17-year-old friend, Michael Bryce Underwood, while they and two girls were camping out in a field so that they could go dove hunting the next day. The 17-year-old boy was arrested and jailed for a minor consumption of alcohol. The sheriff says deputies found a shotgun and a rifle at the scene, and he says it was the rifle that accidentally discharged and killed Mackey.
There's no evidence of this being an intentional shooting, and it's an extreme tragedy to all those involved.
This was also the first day back at school for Guyer students since the loss of Mackey over the weekend. Most wore blue to honor number 33. Parents say they spent most of the weekend comforting their sons and daughters over this. Now, Sheriff Cunningham says that one of the things that they still have to work through is that they need to send this case to the grand jury, and it'll be the grand jury that decides if, in fact, there will be any additional charges over the shooting. Clarice?
Phil, do we know exactly how much alcohol was involved that night, and do we know who was drinking?
We know that Underwood was arrested for a minor consumption of alcohol. The sheriff says that they found some cans of beer, but they say it wasn't a lot of alcohol there, just a few cans of beer, and they have done some blood alcohol tests, but the sheriff says they're not releasing that information right now.
Phil Alvarado in Montague, thank you. The tribute to Nate Mackey and his classmates is growing through pictures on Twitter and other social media. Students at Guyer, Flower Mound Marcus, Denton Ryan, and Louisville High School posed for group photos in what they call a blue out, wearing Guyer blue in honor of Mackey. Funeral services for Mackey are set for Thursday at Cross Timbers Church on Highway 377 in Argyle. The service will begin at 11 o'clock in the morning. Instead of flowers, the Guyer Booster Club has set up a Nathan Mackey benefit fund at North Star Bank of Texas for those wishing to make donations.